Hello, Arbitrarians. Welcome to another episode of the Arbitrarium a la carte. So, I'd like to open this one with a little bit of a question. What do you guys know about Pepsi?
Oh, you're asking us,
Yeah.
right? Not the arbitrators, because they can't respond.
I know.
Okay. I mean, I know that it's not as good as Coke, in my opinion. It doesn't have that bite that I like in
Well,
Coke.
there's one significant historical figure who would disagree.
Okay, well, have you ever had a Pepsi and Coke?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Jack and Pepsi?
Yes, I have.
It's not good.
It's okay.
It's no Jack and Coke. Right. Because it's the bite. That's what
But
I want.
Pepsi does go better with vodka, as we'll find out.
Okay.
Though, well, to be honest, I think Royal Crown Cola, it's really the only purpose for RC Cola, which is being paired with whiskey or rum.
So, I want to tell the story of how Pepsi gained its own naval fleet.
All right.
17 submarines, 1 cruiser, 1 destroyer, a frigate, and several tankers. At the time, making it the 6th largest navy in the world.
And who were they waging war against?
Coca-Cola.
Of course. Damn Reds.
So, this is a story of red versus blue, America versus the Soviet Union, and Pepsi versus Coca-Cola. It all starts in 1959. Shortly in 1958-57, the United States and the Soviet Union had both demonstrated their capability to launch nuclear warheads via ICBMs from submarines, so you would have maybe 5 minutes of warning before 3 megatons worth of fuck you went off in your capital city. Big problem.
So understandably, they needed something to cool them off.
Yes. Dwight Eisenhower and Khrushchev got on the horn with each other and okay, well, we'll have this Soviet-American cultural exchange thing going on. So the Americans set up an American national cultural exchange exhibit in Moscow. The Soviets did the same thing in New York.
This seems like one of those sort of gimmicky type things. Hey,
Yeah.
look, here's some American shit. Come in. It's like a gift shop.
Yeah, it was like a World's Fair, but only 2 countries.
Okay. Okay.
At the time, they were the only 2 superpowers, so who else was really a player at that point?
I mean, without getting into
Apparently
Cold War
Pepsi.
politics.
Well, yeah.
We're not there yet. So, 1959 in the Soviet Union, in Moscow, one of the things that was built at the American Cultural Exchange Center was an American house that was common at the time. Just, this is how Americans live. And there were a bunch of little, booths for American companies, and one person who I'm pretty sure you've never heard of, one Donald Kendall. Remember that name, Donald Kendall. We'll come back to it. Khrushchev and Nixon, then Vice President Nixon, were in this American house and ended up having a heated debate between the merits of communism versus capitalism. Because what else are you going to do with the Russian president? Soviet premier.
Drink.
I mean, there was plenty of that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Although Nixon was a teetotaler, as far as I know.
No.
He never drank.
No, he wasn't. In one case, he got pretty fucking smashed on some Chinese, sorghum liquor. That tastes kind of like liquid razor blades. It's like, traditional toast of, here's this strong-ass liquor. Go ahead, toss it back. And he kept going.
That Donald Kendall guy was an executive for the Pepsi company. And he saw that Khrushchev and Nixon were just going back and forth. This wasn't really productive, and he saw an opportunity for a foreign relations coup for Pepsi. And he came up with 2 glasses of their sugary elixir, handed one to each, and this is Pepsi made with American water, this is Pepsi made with Russian water. Go ahead and try it. And Khrushchev loved it. Absolutely loved it, and demanded a way for Pepsi to sell their wares in the Soviet Union, specifically so he could get his own private supply.
Well, yeah, at that point, if it was made with Russian water, they would have had to, actually build a a Pepsi facility in Russia.
Yeah. Well, flash forward 13 years, 1972. Richard Nixon is now president and is again looking to kind of cool the Cold War a bit. He just did his thing with China, and now he's reaching out to the Soviet Union. And the Soviets remembered liking Pepsi. Pepsi wanted to open 20 bottling plants in the Soviet Union, but there was a problem. The ruble, the Soviet ruble, was worthless outside of the Soviet Union. You couldn't even trade for it. There were no exchange rates, nothing.
Why was that? Why did nobody want to exchange for rubles? Was the money literally just absolutely valueless because of the state of, or was it like almost like a boycotting sort of?
It was more like a boycotting.
Okay.
There were some countries that would take rubles. I think India was one of them, but no American company could do anything with them. And the Soviets did not have any American currency that they, in any significant amount that they could actually trade. So it came down to barter. And the deal that was struck in 1972 between the Pepsi Company and the Soviet Union as
the state.
Yes, the state of the Soviet Union. I mean, in a communist country, all businesses are owned by the state.
True.
So the deal was, Pepsi will open 20 bottling plants in the Soviet Union using that fantastic Russian water. Presumably, runoff from the Urals, not runoff from Moscow.
I imagine they have plenty of clean water. I mean, you got a whole desert of snow.
I mean, Siberia's permafrost. There's not much.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And there was also a reason they drank mostly vodka. Water could possibly just be that bad.
I'm glad you mentioned vodka. And in return, the Soviet Union granted to Pepsi exclusion of the Soviet market to Coca-Cola. There was no Coke to be sold in the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union would send shipments of Stolichnaya, which was
vodka, yeah.
Was owned by the Soviet Union.
Oh, well, yeah.
Everything was owned by the Soviet Union. And would have sole distribution rights in the United States of Stolichnaya. So this went pretty well until the Soviets decided to invade Afghanistan.
Oh, yes. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
How much of our history is a direct result of that now?
A lot. Most.
Yeah, there was a Rambo movie that literally thanked the Mujahideen.
Yeah.
That aged like milk.
No, they're now our friends, remember?
Oh, right, because now
They'll
we're worrying
listen.
about pronouncing Taliban correctly.
Well, when the Soviet
Taliban banana.
When the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, there were boycotts of all Soviet manufactured goods, including Stolichnaya. So, the Pepsi Company, in 1989, wanted to open another 26 bottling plants in the soon-to-be crumbling Soviet Union. And Gorbachev was in charge, and they're like, well, what about our vodka? It's like, it's not selling. That's not going to work anymore, guys. So Gorbachev took a look around, and he saw a portion of the Navy that was in total disrepair. And what if we give you these naval ships, PepsiCo? PepsiCo did a slow nod, kind of a, yeah, that'll work.
Gorbachev slaps the hood of that boat. This baby.
Most Russian stuff good.
Capsized.
Yeah. So PepsiCo took possession of 17 submarines, one heavy cruiser, a destroyer, a frigate, and a few tankers, placing them at the 6th largest navy on the planet.
Now I'm just imagining the Pepsi, like just people in Pepsi, like the fucking polos or whatever, some executive guys just driving those ships back and just like the blaring the Russian, the Soviet national anthem all the way back to the U.S. coast.
Yeah, the Pentagon.
Pepsi flag.
The Pentagon was not a big fan of this. They understandably wanted to maintain sole military power over the seas as far as the United States was concerned, and having an American company with a fleet that could actually challenge them in the Caribbean raised all kinds of hell with PepsiCo. And remember that Donald Kendall guy? At this point, he was the CEO of PepsiCo. Gave one of the sickest burns I'd heard in a while. The Pentagon came after him and he said, "Listen, I've done more to dismantle the Soviet Navy than you have." Talking to the Pentagon.
Yeah. Some brass fucking cojones on that guy.
Hey, Pepsi boss, where are we going? Well, we're sailing to the Caribbean to fix that embargo so we can get that good sugar.
The plan was always for Pepsi to send them to a Swedish company to scrap them. But, I mean, you had to have looked at some of these and like, do we really have to? We could load those guns up with some Pepsi and, distribute with prejudice.
Okay. Now I'm just imagining, like the T-shirt girls, like just operating the cannons on some of those ships. Just some like tiny waisted, big busted chick and the bikini, and just like using the cannons and firing Pepsi and just giggling.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the giggling that's what you'd be doing.
Well, yeah.
Well, let's step into a little bit of alternate history. What if they kept them and decided, hey, let's go with privateering, make sure Coke doesn't distribute anywhere else?
I feel like at that point the Mafia would have had a navy. Something would have happened there. I'm sure that there is a union in which that would have fell under the Teamsters.
Well,
The CNNS,
well, we could have had
Casa Nostra Naval Service.
we could have had the fizzy age of piracy.
Could have.
The fizzy age.
Probably what would have happened was the Pentagon would have given Pepsi the choice to either scrap them or we bomb them. That international waters thing cuts both ways. So they scrapped them. But the concept of Pepsi having its own relatively large flotilla is something that made me giggle to almost peeing my pants when I first read about this.
So if you were Pepsi in this situation, and you were just gained the 6th largest fleet in the world, what would you then do with it?
Well, assuming that I knew it wasn't going to get bombed into oblivion by the United States Navy, I would use them to guard shipments of Pepsi. That's what I would use them for.
Well, those tankers could be adjusted into shipping vehicle or shipping.
Yeah,
True.
the ships were scrapped for $3 billion.
A lot of money back then.
That's still a lot of money.
Yeah. So that would have been $3 billion, and was that still
1989.
1989 is when they were scrapped? Okay.
Yep, 1989 money.
So they actually kept those for quite a while then.
No, remember the 1989 deal was the Navy.
Oh,
ships.
okay,
The
yeah,
1959
Right,
was
right.
the initial
That's right.
instigating incident between Nixon and Gorbachev.
So to
Khrushchev.
Right.
Yeah, Gorbachev was later.
Yes.
And Khrushchev.
Though he apparently was a big part of... He actually appeared in a Pizza Hut ad when they first got the rights to open some restaurants in the Soviet Union.
I wonder if that was part of the deal, because last I checked, Pizza Hut was owned by Pepsi.
That's true.
Yeah. That might have been. That would be
KFC,
an
Taco
interesting-
Bell, and Pizza
Yeah.
Hut are owned by PepsiCo.
Yeah. Oh man, the franchise wars could have gotten started early and went really hot.
That actually did remind me of a character that I thought of coming up with in Mallory Bash, because Mallory has that sort of imaginary alter ego of Arizona Rogers. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be funny to have another character it would basically be like Isaac's character, and he would be Alabama Khrushchev. Just because he has to be, he's got to be a Soviet. In the treatment I'm writing, he is a Soviet in this little exchange at the beginning.
Okay.
But yeah.
So yeah, that's all I had with that one. I hope you guys enjoyed the story of the PepsiCo Navy as much as I enjoyed researching this.
Well, there you go. That actually went by pretty quick, too. We're right at 15 minutes.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I would have preferred a world where they kept them.
I would not have
don't know.
preferred that world.
I don't know. See, I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
Because if they had kept them and the U.S. and the Pentagon had bombed them, that would have there would have been a
that
lot
would
of
have set a huge precedent.
Yeah, there would have been a lot of problems with that situation.
well, kept them and not get bombed to smithereens.
And these ships were not in great repair. There was a reason why the Soviets let go of them. I mean, most of the submarines wouldn't even stay upright.
Half of them were haunted.
There was one that was almost seaworthy. I can't remember if it was the destroyer or the frigate. But it was almost seaworthy. The other two had to have pumps running constantly or they would sink. So we can sell them for $3 billion of scrap, or we can put $10 billion into them to make them somewhat functional. And you are a company, not a private military.
Sending it to pick apart, basically.
Yeah, in essence. Well, it was just scrap metal. It's not even pick apart.
Oh,
because
okay.
it's all getting
melting down. Yeah.
Well, and it wasn't even that good. What was it called? There was a market for a certain kind of steel way back in the day.
I'm not sure.
It had to come from ships that were sunk prior to 1945.
Was it just the effect was it the kind of steel that they used, or the effect that the steel being underwater had, or something like that?
No, it was the effect that nuclear weapons being tested in the atmosphere had.
Oh. On the metal?
Yes, I can't remember the name of the steel, but it wasn't contaminated, and therefore it was worth a lot more.
That's interesting. Oh, it wasn't contaminated.
Right.
Okay. That's interesting.
Oh.
Low background steel, that's what it was called.
Low background steel? Wow,
Yep.
That's not even discreet.
Yeah, it had to... One of the most common sources of low background steel was ships constructed before the Trinity test. And it had to be used in devices that required high sensitivity for radioactivity. So
the sunken treasure was the ship.
Yes. You couldn't... if you were going to build a Geiger counter using steel, you couldn't use...
Right, because it would set itself off.
Post-1945 steel. Yeah, it'd constantly be going off on it. So... that's why that stuff was valuable. There were the Battle of Jutland in World War I, where a bunch of ships went down. Those places have been raided and just salvaged and dismantled, sometimes illegally, just to get the steel in them. Because it was selling for a good price. You couldn't make any more of it.
Right.
But I doubt these ships were that.
Yeah.
The Pepsi Navy was normal background steel, I guess.
Normal backgrounds. I'm assuming that has to do with radiation, like the
background radiation levels.
Right?
And from what you said, it was like being delivered a bunch of dead animals.
No.
What? How so?
Well, you couldn't actually use them. Like you said, only one of them was even close to seaworthy. It was basically just a pile of scrap metal.
Okay, so it was just a weird analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was not a great analogy, but...
Just wanted to make sure there wasn't a connection there that I was just missing.
I mean, some people would like a pile of dead animals.
Butchers?
Cats.
Yeah. Depending on how old the dead animals are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's all I have for today, Arbitrators. I hope you enjoyed the story, and you have a wonderful day.
Pepsi Cola is the workers' cola, chosen by the Commissar of Food Industry. Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi Cola. Ice cold cola for ice cold war.